Hey everyone, my name is James, and I just wanted to give you a little bit about my story, some of my background, who I am. This is my new channel called Born Again Catholic, and I'm currently 55 years old. I've been married to my wife for approximately 33 plus years. We have 3 children and 5 grandchildren in about a week and a half, hopefully. That's who I am now. Let's go back to the beginning. When I was born to Catholic parents. I'm the oldest of 7 children, and I had wonderful parents. They've both passed within the last 2 to 3 years, but my parents were just great parents, and they taught me the Catholic faith. When I was in college, I met a girl. Seems like that happens a lot. People meet a significant other. We fell in love and decided to get married. Her mom a couple of times asked us what we were going to do about religion because she was not a Catholic. And, being a 20-year-old, I said, it's no big deal. We'll work it out. It'll be fine. Well, I did take instruction in her church, and I thought, I don't see a lot of differences between this particular form of Christianity and my Catholic Christianity. So just days before we got married, I converted and became a Protestant. We had 3 children, all went to Protestant grade schools, high schools. My daughter even went on to a non-Catholic Christian university. But I found myself in a bit of a struggle because the new faith that I was practicing was a little bit different. There were differences. I didn't see them being that big at the time, but they were significant. And so I set out on a journey to try to find out what it was that I believed. And I believed what I was raised with because that's what I was taught. And so I decided to learn on my own what seemed the most reasonable, and so that's what I did. I set out on a journey. It took me many years, probably 6, 8, 10 years of reading and studying. And what I found was that a lot of the things that I was being taught in the church that I was now attending was not entirely an accurate depiction of what the Catholic Church teaches. And so at some point, I determined that I need to read Catholic writers to find out what the Catholic Church teaches. I mean, it just makes sense if you're going to school and you have a question, an English question, for example. You're not going to go to the math teacher and ask him for advice on your English question. You're not going to ask the math teacher for advice on your science question. You're going to go to the math teacher and ask questions about math. Your questions for English, you're going to go to the English teacher. And so I decided, rather than to study what the Protestant churches had to say about the Catholic Church, I decided to just find out from the Catholic Church what they believed. And what I found was that their doctrines were very reasonable. They were scripturally based, scripturally sound. And so I was kind of at a struggle at this point because I knew it would just be devastating to my wife, but I also felt called to return back to the Catholic Church. And, I was talking to pastors, talking to friends, guys in Bible studies, and they were telling me that, I was assured of my salvation and it couldn't be lost because of what Jesus had done on the cross for me, and that nothing I could do played any part in anything of my salvation. But it just didn't seem right. And so the more I studied, the more I realized that the Christian faith is not a faith of faith alone. We have a part to play in our faith and our salvation. And so I just, shortly after 9/11, I just made the decision to return to the Catholic Church. At that point, all I needed, according to the priest, was to make a good confession. And I did. Told my wife, and as I thought, it was devastating for her. But my siblings, my parents, none of them knew that I had returned to the Catholic Church for quite a long time. And that's the way I wanted it. I didn't want them to. I didn't want there to be any animosity or any I don't know, any struggles between my family and my wife and her family or anything like that. So I did my best to just downplay it. As I've grown and matured over the years, I have, over the last 2 to 3 years in particular, felt a strong desire to spread the Catholic teaching, what the Catholic Church really teaches. There's so much misinformation and misunderstanding about what the Catholic Church teaches that it's really frustrating and disappointing and disheartening to hear the many people that call themselves Christians, and none of us seem to agree on anything. And so I have started this YouTube channel to just address certain topics that might be topics that people don't understand, maybe topics that people would like to know more on. I don't intend to have very many videos that are going to be that long. I'd like to keep them anywhere from 2 to 5, maybe no more than 10 minutes in length. But, that's just a little bit about my story. I'm passionate about this. I hope to be putting out good content. I ask you as listeners and watchers to give me comments, give me constructive feedback. If you do have disagreements, certainly leave them in the comments, but I ask that you be respectful, and I ask that you be nice when you leave comments. There's just a lot of nastiness that I see in the comments on YouTube and other platforms. And I would like to just promote a positive environment where we can have good, wholesome dialogue, interact with one another, because ultimately we're all on the same journey together. And I would ask that God would bless each and every one of you and bless all of us in our families and in our relationships with Him. And may we all strive to be good Christians to one another. Thanks for listening.